Hello, friends and family, and other people of the Zandie Boi YouTube channel. I am the one and only Zandie Boi, Zandizzle Boy, if you insist. I am joined again by the ravishing and exquisite Jadyn. Jadyn, hello.
All right.
All
Good.
right, cool. Um, so for this discussion today, we're going to be discussing John Wick. Specifically, I guess John Wick 4 because that's the most recent John Wick film. It did come out like a month or two ago. However, I work at a movie theater, still in theaters. It still will be in theaters this week. I think it sets a great like it really is indicative how quality the movie is. Because if you, from my experience, if a movie's not good, it'll leave theaters as soon as possible. It doesn't have the reach. But if a movie stays in theaters for like a month or two, that's a good sign. John Wick has not been in theaters for 2 weeks for 2 months. Unrelated, but Creed 3, which is my favorite movie of the year, that was in theaters for like a month and a half. That shows that like these movies have an audience, and also that shows that the movies are pretty quality too. Um, I would say John Wick 4 is the best John Wick movie. No cap, on God, for real. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah. Um, so I want to start off by saying that I think the John Wick franchise, I think kind of cemented itself, but I think it kind of cemented itself even with the second or third one, but it cemented itself as one of the best action franchises ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes like so many franchises that I can't even like begin to name right now.
Yeah.
But it really is one of the best, start to finish. Like it's just so quality, like um every single movie.
Mm-hmm.
And even the worst movie, which I think in my opinion is the third one, is still good.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the worst one out of all of them is still good. So I think that it just has very much like you said, like a lot of quality in it.
Mm-hmm.
And quality, it doesn't falter. It doesn't go down and go back up. It's not like, oh, the second one's really good and but the fourth one sucks. Or like,
Yeah.
the first one's amazing, but the second one's like they're all steadily quality and they all
Yeah.
have the same director's cut touch. They all have that same Keanu Reeves, like magic, like where you
Mm-hmm.
love him. They all
Mm-hmm.
have the same, great action set pieces. Everything in it is just very quality and it maintains that level for four movies.
Yeah.
More or less.
More, yeah. I would say each like the next movie improves on the previous movie. So I know that you said that John Wick 3 is the worst, is the worst in your opinion. I would say it has the best action compared to any of the movies. Maybe John Wick 4 has similar to like equivalent quality in terms of like the action, especially when it like introduces like the the Continental that's in Tokyo, or it's a
Yeah.
Osaka, the Osaka Continental, and like this like all the different action scenes that incorporate like Japanese culture into like the fighting, which is pretty cool.
Yes, that was so good.
Yeah, like, and also Rina Sawayama's, and that's my queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love her music. Listen to John Wick soundtrack. I think that might be the best part of the movie. Like actually, but everything about that movie is amazing, start to finish. And um, the one qualm that I've heard, because I was talking to one of my coworkers about this too. He didn't like the scene where John Wick like falls down the stairs when he's trying to get to his duel with that the antagonist in the movie. I forget his name. Like it's the spoiled rich white kids. I forget his name.
Um, I forgot his name. I
Yeah.
just called Pennywise the whole movie because it's the guy who played Pennywise. Did you
Famous.
not?
Wait, who are we talking about?
The main villain of John Wick 4, the main villain of John Wick 4. He was the guy who played Pennywise in the It movies.
Wait, what?
Yes, that's crazy, right?
No, no way, bro.
He's a very like long, lengthy guy. He's got like that creepy face. Good actor. That
Bro,
was him.
okay. Well,
To make it better, yeah.
yeah, I think well, I think for the sake of like having this discussion, maybe I should look into what his name is because I don't know. I don't want to say like, oh, he's that guy. He's that guy.
Uh,
Um,
While you do that, I'll say that one of my favorite
Marquis,
parts of that movie, the
Marcus,
Marquis. Yeah, the
Marquis.
Marquis.
Yeah. Sorry, what are you going to say?
I was gonna say, I think, and I'll get into just the reasons why I love John Wick 4 the most out of any of them.
Hmm.
Just like even if that movie were to be by itself, that would be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I think it is a masterpiece. But even if all the other John Wick movies didn't exist, that movie would still be just as good because it stands alone as its own epic property. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just speaking of John Wick 4, one of the best reasons it has an amazing ensemble. Every character, including the villain, is sensational.
Hmm.
The most wild thing is you go into only seeing John Wick 4, you go in, you probably think, oh, these are characters from the other movies.
No,
No, these are like completely new
almost
characters.
all of them are new characters.
All of except for like one or two or in John Wick.
Like the manager, he's in the previous movies, but like
Yeah, yeah.
he's barely in
Other,
it too.
other than him and the the actor of Morbius, I think the what's his called?
Jared Leto.
No, not Jared.
Oh, it's the dancing guy, his
No,
friend.
you ever seen The Matrix? No.
Shit, dude. I'm sorry.
That's
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah.
Other than
Just
those two
it's a
characters,
good point. Yeah.
other than those two characters, it's wild how they were able to make me feel invested
Mhm.
and just make me really like root for and understand these characters in one movie. There were like so many different characters, and I cared about every single one of them.
Yeah. Hmm.
And this is not even their movie. They're like side characters.
Yeah.
It was
So
ridiculous.
so I think the best part of the movie is the fact that there's so much potential for future content and
Yeah.
future content that you could care about. Because like you look at Akira and Donnie Yen's character, like now they could have something because Donnie Yen, he said, "Hey, like I'm like we should finish this one day or something like that, something along those lines." And now you could have that story be completed in future content.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like even if you don't need the next John Wick movie, John Wick 5, you could still have the property continue without him. And you can still have the property continue with these new characters, which I think is the best part about the movie, is that there's so much potential for future content. And you look how on Peacock there'll be the new Continental series too. Like it's all like yes, you can argue that now it's going to be like oversaturated, maybe the John Wick franchise, and maybe yeah, they have to be careful with
That
it.
may happen. That may happen. That's very possible.
Yeah, they have to be careful with it too. Like of course, but I think they are on such great footing right now that as long as they keep on pumping quality content, I don't think the quantity really matters.
Yeah. I think that, in my opinion, that speaks a lot to the direction of the movie. Like the director, Chad Skalinsky, I think his name is.
Mhm.
First of all, a story about him. I just found out the other day that he was a stuntman he was Keanu Reeves' stunt double
Really?
in previous. I don't know if The Matrix is one of them, but like previous movies, he was his
Mhm.
stunt double, and
That's cool.
his whole idea for John Wick was I want to make a movie primed towards stuntman. I want to make a movie that's about action and like all these stunts. And he went up to Keanu Reeves and they kind of agreed and they came up with John Wick. And then they kind of just like it exploded from there. And like I can kind of agree with what you said. Like each one kind of gets better.
Yeah.
Like our rankings kind of differ a little bit, but like we agree the series gets like bigger and better, more or less.
Yeah. Like yeah, there's more like action, which is indicative of like a sequel. Like that's pretty
Yeah, you got to go.
synonymous. Yeah, of course. But like it's bigger and better as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't get worse. You understand why there's more like you understand why it gets bigger. And also I think for the context of the series too, it makes sense. Because this whole series started because John Wick's dog died. And you
Yeah.
can see that's like a small event. But now it's like kind of exploded how this small event has now resulted in like this cataclysm of other events and how it affects so much more people.
Yeah.
Which I think the bigger and better like ideology of a sequel, I think it really works for John Wick.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah, it's just it really feels like the fourth one is the most action packed one, and
Mm-hmm.
also just the most um stake. It has the most stakes. I feel like the other movies they have stakes, but I don't know. It felt
I
different with this one. It,
yeah,
it felt
I
it felt like like the entire world was after him, and like all these people
yeah.
trying to kill him, and that's
Mm-hmm.
usually always the key. Usually has a whole bunch of people trying to kill him anyway. Um,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
this one kind of just nailed that feeling of just like he's. I don't think he's gonna make it because there were just so many people going after him, and you're like, okay, John Wick can like can fight them off, but just there was so much in this movie where like how much more
Mm-hmm.
can he take? And then towards the end, you get like the illusions of like him saying like, "Oh, put this on my tombstone." Like there was just
Yeah,
so
like
it
foreshadowing.
was all
Yeah,
it was all leading up to like the whole theme of the movie was like, oh, what is this leading to? Like, what is the end for you?
yeah, exactly.
That was probably my favorite part. That they introduced the stakes. The one thing I didn't like about the third one, I guess you could say this about the second one, even though I love the second one too, is that like they kind of lost the stakes a little bit. They were just kind of just like it felt like just another, John Wick adventure, which is great, which is like a
Mm,
John Wick adventure is amazing. Um, but the reason why this is the best one far and away is because like it had an actual ending to it. It had like
mm,
the most story out of all the movies. It had like the most stakes. It had the most like, there was just so much going on with the characters, with the story,
mm-hmm.
with what was gonna happen to John Wick, with the end. It was just it really was the best, it really was the most um just dramatic of all of them. And
Yeah,
that's what I loved out of them.
yeah. So two things. One, I completely. Hmm, I think. Well, my point is, I think it's impressive that these movies are all considered silent movies, and yet there's so much story to them. I think that's really impressive that
Yeah.
even without having like this full on intricate like script, you can see from like
Yes.
all the different characters like movements and like how they act towards each other. Like you don't need a script for that. You can see that through the body language. And I
Yes.
think that's the most impressive part about the whole John franchise is that even despite having a pretty loose fitting script that is sort of simple in a way, like John Wick is a hitman and now
Mhm.
he's coming out of retirement. Like that's the sort of basic premise of how this whole franchise started. And now you see how character interactions, even without dialogue, can have such great depth and development.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
also I really appreciate and kind of admire in a way how each and every character has a different attachment and different reaction towards a different character. Like no two relationships are the same, and that's super commendable, especially with how many characters they have introduced in this franchise, especially with the most recent movie.
Mhm. I I love what you just said. I want to go on a little tangent actually.
Okay.
The movies obviously are made to be action movies, and
Hmm.
like I said, they're made like for stuntman, and they're made to have these amazing set pieces, and everyone knows the action is probably one of the best action in any movie ever.
Yeah.
With all the fight scenes, especially chapter 4, like with all the fight scenes, I was watching, I was like, this might be the best action I've ever seen in a movie in my life.
Mm.
Um, but everyone knows that, like they're meant to be those. There's marketed as action movies.
Yeah.
Thing people don't talk about though is the story,
Yeah.
and is like you said, the acting, all the small little glances, all the small little like you know the absence of lines a lot of the time. Like that's John Wick's character is about like
Yeah.
saying a lot of things sometimes. I think it's actually brilliant. It's actually like very very
There's
uh
silent. The silence speaks volumes.
the silence speaks volumes,
Yeah.
but just the story and the acting does a lot more than it gets credit for. A lot
Mm.
more. Like these movies are not just action movies.
Yeah.
these have, I would say the story is probably the weakest of all these aspects but the story is usually pretty good.
Yeah.
But script and the acting are like really good.
Yeah.
They're like top tier quality.
Yeah, definitely.
And people don't really, they're just like, I don't know if they write it off, but like they'll be like, okay, this is more for action. And that's not true all the time. Like there are certain scenes where you're like, wow, this is really interesting character development. This is really interesting place to take the character.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really interesting thing for him to say, for him to act. Like
Mm-hmm.
these are movies. These are like, I know people say Martin Scorsese said the thing about like, oh, what is cinema and what is not. This movie feels like cinema to me.
Yeah.
And that's like watches like quote unquote cinema movies like myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this movie feels like cinema. This
I
movie
think,
at times
yeah,
without action, it feels like that. It really does.
I feel like the whole franchise kind of goes back to like the very roots of cinema, of like how movies started as silent films because they couldn't get like the audio to like mesh up with like the actual like acting or like the actual like visual components of the movies. And so I think like because the franchise is inherently like more action focused than dialogue focused, it really goes back into like the sort of foundations of cinema, but like it builds upon it and it realizes like it appreciates how cinema started, and then it builds upon that and makes it into its own thing. Also, I would also, this is also kind of a side tangent, because this is from like previously when we were discussing something else. Do you think John Wick is dead?
It's a good question.
I think yes, and I hope it's yes.
Well, obviously, I hope it's yes, because
Yeah.
there's nowhere they could take the character and it'd be better.
Mm-hmm.
I say that, and maybe they bring him back and make it a better movie. I don't know, but I think that's pretty impossible.
We say that now, but also like you also think it's impossible for each movie to build upon itself and make it better than the previous one.
It's definitely possible. I mean, the way that they built it this time, I don't know. I can't sit here and deny that, but I don't know. I feel like this was a perfect. I feel like also if they brought him back, it would kind of not ruin the fourth one, but like kind of stain it a little bit. So I think they should just leave it and kind of just respect it for what it is, and respect the end that it gave him. So I think they really shouldn't bring it back. And if they do, at least just please don't make another entire movie of him coming out of retirement again. That would be the only time where I'd be like, okay, this is terrible.
Yeah. I think the franchise realizes that they need to continue without John Wick, like with Ballerina.
I was gonna say that I feel like well, obviously, like you said, like they have a lot of leeway in what they can do right now because they've set it up so well with this movie. They have so many good side characters. They could go any way they want. But I think, and I love Keanu Reeves, and he was amazing as John Wick.
Yeah.
But him as John Wick is not the best part of those movies. The action and the direction of those movies are the best part.
Yeah.
So as long as the director is there, and as long as the feel of like all that of the action and the lines, and as long as all that is there, I think they can make another property which is just as good, or at least trying to rival it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Ballerina show, I'm actually very excited for.
Wait, is that a show or a movie?
I think it's a show, I believe.
I thought Continental was a show, and then Ballerina was a movie.
And they're also making Ballerina, so they're making two separate.
Okay. I could be mistaken then.
I don't know what Ballerina is, but regardless, like I have hope that that'll be good because the direction and because of like the John Wick universe. There's just so much action packed. There's so much exciting stuff packed into it. I don't feel like John Wick leaving is like the end of it. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like they could go on without him, and that's not even a shot at John Wick. He was amazing, but that just speaks volumes to the other parts of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, Ana de Armas is a fantastic actor. So, and I think she's a better actor than Keanu Reeves. I think much better actually. So I think they have a lot of good potential there. And I saw Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl from Walking Dead, is going to be in that show too.
Oh, that's cool. So I haven't watched Walking Dead, but I do recognize his popularity. So
Walking Dead is the greatest show I've ever seen. That's all I'll say.
Well, I would say
It's not as good as the end, but Walking Dead,
I would say The Boys is the best TV show ever.
The Boys.
The
I
Boys is
remember
fantastic.
The Boys. I think when it's on, is the best show on TV, or at least like
Yeah,
because it's genuinely good. Like anything people say about it is true.
yeah.
It is all that.
I've heard rumors that Homelander is going to be in the new Mortal Kombat game, and if that's true, that's amazing.
That just speaks to how good that show is. But anyway, to get back to John Wick,
Hmm.
like I just think they did a good job finishing out that story, and I'm happy that they ended it like that. I'm happy they're going forward without him.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
gonna make a mistake.
going back to the point actually, I was because I was talking to one of my coworkers about this, and he brought that they could have a movie where it's Donnie Yen and Keanu in the Mission Impossible, like the impossible mission that they discuss in the movie,
Like a
like the
prequel.
one where Donnie Yen gets blind. So they could bring back John Wick for that, and I think that would work.
I don't know how I feel conflicted about that because then like you got to bring him back forever for prequels. Like I mean he's genuinely old, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
So I
he's like mid 50s or something.
not like he wouldn't be able to pull it off, but like you
And
should start
also the new
old.
John Wick movie, he apparently did like 90% of his own stunts.
That's just what Keanu Reeves does.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I feel like I don't think they would do it terribly. I don't think they would even do it bad. But I just feel like they should really respect this movie. Maybe I'm biased because this most recent John Wick is one of my favorites of all time. Um, but I think they should respect the ending they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
They didn't tease his return or anything. They didn't like. I think it would actually be kind of awkward to say that he lived. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But I think if they did the Impossible Mission, it wouldn't like disrespect the ending of John Wick 4. It would be like a continuation and like
Yeah.
actually like visually show what happens, have new and like just imagine like Donnie Yen. I think his name is Kane in the movie. I don't want to keep on calling him Donnie Yen, Kane. I
Mhm.
think it'd be cool if you see Kane, like how he would fight if he has eyesight. Because
Mhm.
him without his eyesight, it's pretty unique and brilliant action.
Yeah.
But like, just imagine what he would be able to do with his eyesight too.
Yeah, I don't disagree that would be a good movie and that would turn out good, but I think they just have to respect the actual actor of Keanu Reeves. They have to like let him kind of retire. Like I find that as like his retirement from the role, not just like oh
Okay.
that was a good story wise for his death. Well, that's also true.
Yeah.
That was a good place to end his role. Like he should. I don't think he should ever play John Wick again. I think if you're gonna end on that note, that's gonna forever cement your legacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's
That's
the perfect place for him to just stop and say like, okay, I retire this role. Let Ana de Armas take over, or let the Continental Show starts take over. But
mm.
it's a good place. Yeah,
So how old is Donnie Yen? Because I would like to see Kane like kind of take over the role.
I think Donnie Yen is like almost as old as Keanu, which is like, I mean, I don't know, but that's why I feel like Ana de Armas is better because Ana de
Oh,
Armas
yeah, never
is
mind.
young.
He's 59. So yeah, never mind.
Keanu's like 60. Keanu's like old, dude.
Wait,
Keanu
hold
is
on.
ridiculously old. Look up how old Keanu is.
Keanu is 58.
Oh, 50. Oh, I thought he was like 60. Okay.
No. So I mean
Okay.
he's still older, but he can still do his
Yeah,
stunts,
yeah.
but it would be definitely a little uncomfortable for him.
I think he can still do it, but my thing is like I like Kane, but I don't think he'd be the best going forward because he's very old. I think Ana de Armas works better because she's young. She's a
Mhm.
better actor, I think, than all three of them, debatably. But I think she would just be a perfect person going forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
What I took away is that they can make anybody the new main character. I think they can do it well.
that's
They
that's
they
definitely
can
that's
introduce.
definitely valid, yeah.
I forget who the character with the dog was, but they can
Oh yeah, he's interesting. Because
they
like there's so
can
many
introduce
parallels there's so
anybody.
many yeah, there's definitely so many parallels. I think his name is Mr. Nobody. I think his
Yeah,
name is
that's such
yeah.
such a
Like
great.
there's so many parallels to his story to John Wick because he has a dog. His dog was also hurt in like it wasn't killed. I thought the dog was gonna be killed. I thought we were going to see like the next evolution of John Wick through Mr. Nobody. But also, I guess they can't name a movie Nobody because it's already a movie of similar premise called Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe for like copyright reasons, they can't do it.
Yeah, but it's also just it just shows they can do it with anybody. They can make Bonnie interesting. They can make Mr. Nobody interesting. They're most likely going to make Ana de Armas interesting. They can make anybody the main character. I think they can do it well. That just speaks to how good the universe they've created has been.
Yeah, I'm only familiar with Ana de Armas in Queen's. Oh, what's the chess movie? What's it's chess show? What is that called?
That's not her. That's not her.
Queen's Gambit.
That's Anna Taylor-Joy.
Oh,
have you seen Blade Runner?
No. Oh, I didn't realize there's two different people. Okay, never mind that.
She's different. She's all you have to know about her. She's a really good actor, and she's really talented. That's all you gotta know.
All right. So we have about a minute left. So I think how we should end is ranking the John Wick movies. I think
words out of my mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the worst 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple as that.
Wait. Can you?
So best is 4, and then it goes 3, 2, 1. I think it improves throughout the series.
I strongly agree with that, but I would change one thing. I do agree that it just gets bigger and better each time.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't lose any quality over time, like a lot of sequels do.
Yeah.
But I would go 4, 2, 1, and then 3. 4, 2, 1, and then 3. So around the same.
Yeah,
thing.
we're about the same. Yeah.
But yeah, the quality is just.
Yeah, that's undeniable.
They're all good. They're all great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for joining us for another discussion. Jadyn, thank you for joining us again. I hope I see you again in a sequel, much like John Wick.
Sequel. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed our discussion, so thank you.
Yes, no problem.
All right. See you around. Peace.
See you guys.